I'm here with Baltasar Kormákur, and your film Touch is based on a novel Snerting by Icelandic writer Ólafur Jóhann Ólafsson. How did you find the book and what made you want to turn it into a film?
Well, my daughter actually gave it to me for Christmas, and I think I started reading it and I couldn't put it down. It was something that pulled me in a gentle way, not like in a cliffhanger way, you know. It's just like there was something about his journey, and then as the book progressed, it tightened your grip on you, and I was totally in there when I came to the final conclusion. And I couldn't lay it down. I read it in the 24-hour window. And I called the author the morning after, which was just, I think, Christmas Day or something like that, or the day after Christmas. And I asked him if he would join me on this journey, and we decided to write the script together. He said yes right away, and we were actually writing before New Year's Eve. We started writing the book. So it was more like I had no other choice. I knew I had to do this, you know. It was something that came to me in the right way. And sometimes when you have to be open enough to accept the gifts that you're brought, you know.
Exactly. And those who are familiar with your work, you know that your portfolio has a huge variety, from drama like Adrift and action like Contraband, or Everest and thriller like The Oath. You're never tied to just one genre, and I love that. And you really got me with Touch, one of the rare films where I would have watched it straight away after it ended. So how did you manage to make the film so touching?
I think I was in need of telling this film, and I had been going through a difficult journey in my own life, you know, a relationship with love that I came to a place, you know. I divorced a few years ago, and it was just something I had to bring. But I wanted to represent the way that I see it, the way I connect with it. I didn't want to just please the audience and make a rom-com or something like that. I wanted to make an honest, mature portrayal of love. But at the same time, I also wanted people to enjoy the wonderful parts of love. You know, it's romantic. Love is romantic as well. You know, we can't deny that. So the look backs and the flashback have a very romantic vibe, but they have a bigger underbelly of a story that you'll be brought to.
In the role of the young Kristófer, we see your son Palmi Kormákur, and I only realized afterwards that he's not a trained actor and sees himself rather behind the camera than in front of it. But therefore, I believe it's important to say that he was just brilliant in the film. How did you convince him that he could carry a whole film?
I think actually he has not wanted to. He's the only one of my kids who's never sought to act. He did a little bit as a kid. He played my son in a movie, small role, and after that he just didn't want to, because you know, they had been around this. And he has come to me. He was doing curtains of the boat in Adrift, you know, and he's been with me a lot on set, and he's studying to be a fine artist, you know, in Amsterdam. So it wasn't kind of in the idea of his journey, but when my casting director suggested him to me after having gone through a lot of young men, wonderful many of them, but not quite right for the role, I didn't think he was going to go there. But then he eventually came and did this, and kind of blew everyone away. But then he was having second thoughts about doing it, and I realized the power structure had changed. I wasn't doing him a favor, he was actually doing me a favor to be a part of the film, because I didn't really have another choice. And I also wanted to say, because I was very careful, I didn't want to put him in the wrong position. It was very important to me, not only for the film, but also for his own life, that he would be doing something that would, you know, put him in a jeopardized situation. So it was very important to me. It was right, so I sent all the participants, my co-producers, the focus that was involved in the film from early days, and the writer, who none of them knew he was my son. I sent them audition tapes, and nobody had a question, you know.
All the other actors are incredible as well. Egil Ólafsson as the old Kristófer, Cookie as the young Miko, and so on. Can you shine a little light in how the casting process with your casting director Yoko Nagahishi was, and why did you choose her to play the old?
Yes, well, that's very interesting, and I have to say that for me, casting is everything, because if you don't have the right people, it's such a strive to find the right person. With Egil Ólafsson, my father is going through Alzheimer, and he's Spanish, and he's a very gentle man. He's a beautiful, always beautifully dressed, not like flashy, but kind of this kind of older man that carries himself with grace, even in his troubles, you know. And I wanted to portray that, and Egil somehow was the only one who came to my mind. And I also wanted him to be romantic in a way, even though he's real and he's 70-something. I didn't want people to feel sorry for him. I wanted them to participate in this journey that romance or look to romance can be when you're 70 as when you're 20. So that was very important, and he has been this kind of legend in Iceland for a long time as a singer and actor. He always was like quite big and very masculine, but because he's himself going through Parkinson, he's been diagnosed with Parkinson, and he stopped singing, and it's kind of, so it was very different, which I really appreciated, and he gave a lot of gravity to the film. Answering a question about Yoko, finding an actress who's supposed to be good in English because she's lived in England for a good part of her life was almost an impossible task. There are not many known actresses in Japan that do have the English language at their hand. So she was reading constantly and doing reads with Japanese actresses, and I was like, well, she reads so well, what about her, you know? And I suggested to her, why don't you read for me? I said, no, I can't do that, you know, like, see, I've been testing all these women. No, it's my decision, please read for me. And after she read, again, like Palme, it was no question. For me, she was absolutely right for the role. And then with Koki was very tricky. It took me almost a half a year to find Koki, you know. And she is, like Palme, very limited experience, but I do think in some way their innocence just comes across on the screen. And this is love. You can't really act love. You have to feel it. You know, chemistry can't be just dialed in and dialed out. It needs to be created and be there while you're shooting.
Okay. I wish you all the best with the film. Thank you very much for the interview.
Well, my pleasure.
And I'm looking forward to whatever comes next.
Okay.